want to explain that at this point, Michael Patterson and I are going to go through something you'll read about in the book, and it's called Reverse Engineering Insights. We're going back to when we did our clinical trials and when I was working with trying to develop Memorobics, which later became the MindRamp method. And we're taking the examples of what worked and sometimes what didn't, and we're reverse engineering, figuring out what was going on and why did something work. So Michael, thank you for being with us again from Los Angeles. And what I want to do is to start with something you labeled in the book, One for All. And I've also looked at that as that's part of the ripple effect. So what do you see on reverse engineering from that point?
Yeah, well, we called it One for All because in a number of your activities, you sort of center your activity around a single individual but design an activity that extends the benefits to a larger group. So explain a little bit about why you think it's important to focus on one individual first and then expand it.
Yeah, and Michael, what I saw was that if you didn't have something that jump-started, and I use that term at times, jump-started one person, that person might never even get to the peanut gallery, let alone become cognitively active. And again, cognitively active and physically active are two separate matters. The person can be cognitively active by being on the outside looking in, even if they're not saying anything, but if they're not exposing themselves to the play that's going on and the excitement and something new, they cannot benefit if they're in their apartment or in their room. So what I did was to target one person as the reason for an activity, but make sure that everyone else around could benefit from that person's activity. So it's not taking one person and favoring that person to do a solo activity alone with the person, but it's find a way to have that person the center, either knowing in advance or some of our mystery trips were designed to really spark somebody's interest and have those around them, their peers and sometimes family and others, they would thrive because the one for all, one activity, but everyone who hears about it, sees it, or is actually witnessing it, they benefit as well.
Yeah, one of the things that struck me is, I think one of your interesting points is that if you try to do an activity that helps a whole range of individuals, you're just going to diffuse your message. It's going to get confused. But by focusing on one specific individual, you get very targeted, helps you generate, I think, ideas for activities. But then the second important part, as you say, is to make sure that it involves family and friends and everybody else. So I like that one for all.
Yeah, let me wind up by explaining that there's a couple of easy examples that the students will have known about and we talk about in the book. One is the Bowling for Memories, one person, and it was a mystery trip. But everyone who was there, after they heard why we went, why we were at the bowling alley, they got that warm feeling that really is almost an oxytocin from reflecting that when she was there, generating those memories of her life, raising her two boys in a bowling alley, that ended up making everyone else feel really warm. The other was when we took Harvey to the pizza parlor to watch the movie Harvey. Those are two examples that now that you've framed this in the all for one, those are good examples for that. Thank you.